I'm Father Stephen Lynch, a Franciscan missionary from Holy Name Province in New York City. I'm going to speak a little about the New Year, which was never a Christian celebration, but was one of the most sacred rituals in the Orient. New Year celebrated the seeking of the blessing of the divine powers that rule the universe. And Christianity was afraid that it was too close to paganism, and so they never had New Year ritual celebration. Christian leaders saw the New Year celebration as a pagan ritual, and therefore they refused to have any special liturgical relationship with the celebration that dominates the Orient. When I went as a missionary to Japan in 1957, I was surprised to see how the Japanese treated New Year as over and against how they looked at Christmas. The Japanese, and for the Orientals in general, Christmas was a time of parties, unfortunately heavy drinking, and some of the things that we don't associate with the religious spirit. Whereas the Japanese and the rest of the Orient saw New Year as the first and the most powerful of all their religious festivals. The similarities between the Jewish New Year and the Mesopotamian New Year are quite different, but at the same time they have a mutual respect for each other's religious belief. St. Francis of Assisi, who lived in the 13th century, had a great love for the devotion to the presence of God in our world. And that's why all creatures for Francis were holy. They were special, and he tried to treat them all in a very special way. But Francis also understood that other religions may not have had the religious training that he had, and were not aware of the presence of God in a personal way in our lives. So Francis of Assisi is one of the connectors between the religions of the Orient and the religion of Christianity. A friend of mine, who was the head of Komazawa University, he was a Buddhist professor, said to me, "I respect Jesus Christ, but I do not have the same theological attitude towards him as you do, Father Lynch." But he said, "I never go to Italy without stopping in Assisi, because I wanted to pray at the tomb of your Holy Father, St. Francis, because he believes, as we Buddhists, as the Shinto believe, that the divine presence is everywhere in everybody, and that therefore we should treat each other with respect and with love." In terms of expectations for the new year, I think it is appropriate to look back at St. Francis of Assisi because he saw the common brotherhood, sisterhood of not only all human beings, but all creation. And he loved everyone, and therefore we should try to show love and compassion for not only for our human neighbors, but also for all living things. St. Francis of Assisi was a promoter of peace, not violence. And he said, if the world is to live as brother and sister, we must get rid of our violent temperament, and we must put love in place of hate, put love in place of revenge. Revenge is something that in both East and West creates a context for violence. One of my favorite Japanese poets is Wakayama Bokusui, and he's a tanka poet. The tanka poetry is a little longer than the Japanese haiku, which is a very short form of verse. Wakayama Bokusui's poem goes like this. How many are the mountains and the valleys that I have crossed over, and yet I start out again today to cross over that last green mountain, the other side of which is the land that brings an end to loneliness. In Japanese, the poem has its own special cogency, and it goes like this. Ikuyama kawa koe sari yukaba samishisa no hatanan kuni zo kyo mo tabi yuku.